Well, I kind of broke away from reading poetry this time. I usually read my original poetry, but I've kind of, like you said, I've kind of not written anything, lately. I've been kind of busy. But I decided to, Debbie Nolan inspired me with her blog, and I started writing a blog there for a while. I haven't written anything for about a year, but I thought, well, I'd grab something from my blog and read that tonight. So this is called Bucket Lists and Such, and it's from September 19th, 2012. I've arrived at that certain age when I've begun to see friends and peers pass away due to various causes, and now I've suddenly become aware of having a bucket list. I wrote this kind of right after the loss of one of my dear friends who kind of passed away too soon. So here's my bucket, I wrote about this, my bucket list. Of course, it isn't called a bucket list per se at this point in my life, but a list of things I want to do sometime. A list of things I want to do sometime sounds so much more full of life and hope, but alas, bucket list is much shorter in the vernacular, so bucket list it is. Number one on my list is to travel to Nepal and hike to Mount Everest Base Camp with the elevation of 17,600 feet. Originally, it was, and please don't laugh, to climb Mount Everest. Yes, that was my dream vacation, traveling to Kathmandu in May, hiking to base camp, and then ascending to camps 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the South Col at 26,000 feet, and then the final push to the Hillary Step and on to the summit rising 29,000 feet, 29,028 feet, and then to take my picture, the ultimate selfie, I would daydream of climbing over and through the Khumbu icefall with my crampons strapped to my boots, swinging my ice axe, ascending aluminum extension ladders across bottomless crevasses, then ascending through the western Coombe, a Welsh word pronounced Coombe, K-O-O-M, meaning valley, and finally with many hardships, freezing cold, and danger, with my oxygen tank providing needed air, I would snap my photo at the top of the world. Well, I'm not sure if my number one bucket list item will ever be crossed off, but it's an adventure to dream about. Other entries on my list is to visit Tuscany, Italy, and Paris, France, fly in a hot air balloon in some exotic place, go to Bora Bora, to photograph wildlife in Africa's Masai Mara, and to most recently hike the Pacific Crest Trail, or PCT, roughing it with my backpack and gear. The most recent bucket list idea came to me from reading Cheryl Strayed's New York Times bestseller, Wild, From Lost to Found on the Pacific Crest Trail, an excellent book about one woman's journey by herself to find herself. Through the course of life, we all need to find ourselves, to find what anchors us in this vast ocean of humanity. Maybe bucket lists provide that inward look into ourselves at a time when we realize life is short and there's still so much to do and see and people to connect with. Some of my bucket list ideas have been achieved, such as hiking and photographing the Wave in the Vermilion Cliffs Wilderness area in Arizona, flying in a small plane and taking aerial photos, traveling the western U.S., hiking in a slot canyon, having a greyhound for a pet, photographing the stars, and reconnecting with friends that I haven't visited with for a long time. So much to do in one lifetime, and not enough time. I guess I need to continue to work on my, list of things I want to do sometime, my bucket list. I need to make every minute count. And that's all I have. Now, I've got James, a poem from James, and I need to ask him a question.
What?
James,
yes.
Can I ask? We had to work on a word here.
Hang on a second. And real quick, Rosemarie Kinder, I always forget. Kinder, thank you. She kept bugging me about, my poem being read. So she came up with a really good idea, and that is to have a, one or two readers from Spofest to have the privilege, honor, whatever you want to call it, to read my poem. So tonight is the very first time we're trying this out. And Faith, you're the first one, so don't mess it up.
Now I'm on the line. Well, I'm
Okay.
very honored, and I do believe James, his voice needs to be heard, and his poems do need to be read. So I feel very honored to read his poetry. Candle of Life by James Bryant. With a thought comes action, the marital flint of steel striking. With a spark comes hope, that the labor of love bears fruit. With time comes the waiting, eager anticipations, healthy ambitions. Without notice comes the time, infant son pushing, kicking to be free. With a push, another one comes life, a bawling, squirming thing. It's a boy. With love came the candle of life, an infinity burning light of hope. My life, marital flint and steel, brightly illuminating the world from the love I feel. My cupped hands protectively around this flickering, fluttering candle of life.